she's an accountant. And so just very quickly, an accountant created a feeding frenzy in a mastermind. I just want you to be like, how did that happen? What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of Dream Firm Spotlight. My name is Tyler S. Clark, co-founder of Dream Firms, where we help you to get your dream firm by getting dream clients and being surrounded by your dream team. Crazy concept. Now, to help you do that, there is this thing that many people have become infatuated with, and rightfully so. And these are high ticket, high value clients known as advisory clients. And so I want to share with you the best way to get advisory level clients and a small little story about how I know for a fact that this is the best way to do it. So when I was really just figuring things out, didn't really know much about much, I said, I'm going to go and learn from the people who have really successful businesses. Crazy concept. I want to shorten how long it takes me to get success. And so I signed up for a combination of coaching, mastermind, course access, and it was, quite frankly, the best investment I think I've ever made in my life. And as a part of that, I got into a room full of people that had all spent north of $15,000 to be in that room. Now that sounds like a ton of money, but at the time it was like all my money. I was like betting on this working. And so it forced me to really pay attention, make the most of it, build great relationships. And while I was in that mastermind, and that's what we're going to be discussing in a little bit here, while I was inside of that mastermind room, one of the cool things that the leader of this did is she shared the spotlight with the other members of the community. She let them come up and present and share their expertise. And so there were digital marketers, there were accountants, there were coaches, there were fitness people, there was photographers, there was all sorts of these people, but everyone in the room at least passed the threshold of being willing to invest a minimum of $15,000 for the right to be there. So during these presentations, one person gets up in the room, and I've never seen a feeding frenzy like this in my life in terms of like how much interest there was in the room. And there was about 45 people in the room. And this woman comes up and she's an accountant. And so just very quickly, an accountant created a feeding frenzy in a mastermind. I just want you to be like, how did that happen? And so she goes up there and she goes, okay, I'm going to talk with you just about a very simple tax strategy. And you would think most people's eyes glaze over. And so she just drew out a very simple example on the board that applied to the vast majority of the room. And everyone was like, I've never heard that before. Excuse me, like I've never seen so many people so interested in accounting or tax. And this woman captured their attention in less than 10 minutes and had a feeding frenzy of people who were capable and willing of spending above $15,000 for advice. So the fastest and the most effective way to get advisory clients is you have to be in a room full of people who are willing to invest in expertise. And so I know a lot of people online like to be like, oh, you can learn everything for free. Well, yes, that is certainly true. But if you want to gain access to wealthy people, if you want to be in the room, there's a threshold for this. I'm going to share another story about kind of like why masterminds inherently have to have a high price tag. Okay. So there was another coach that I worked with, and his whole concept was I'm going to democratize masterminds because they're elitist. And because I want to have a lower price and I want more people to be a part of them. And it didn't work. And the reason it didn't work is because inherently, the reason a mastermind is valuable is everybody in the room knows that they are mutually respected because they had to pay a certain amount for the right to be there, which by definition means that everyone in the room has a certain level of income, which means everyone has a certain level of respect because everyone's saying you're willing to spend to be here. You're invested. Those who pay more attention, right? Pay more attention. So if you want more higher level advisory clients, you don't need to go run Facebook ads. You don't need to put a bunch of social media posts that say you do advisory level work. You don't need to cold call people. You don't need to pass through your referrals that are only tax returns to try and get you advice. You don't need to upsell people who are doing like $100,000 a year in sales to try and get them to pay you $20,000 a year for accounting services. You've got to surround yourself with people who meet a certain threshold. So here's the best way to do it, okay? You pick a dedicated target market, and every target market, I don't care what market it is that you work in, every one of these has multiple high-level masterminds that are being run that are crowdsourcing the expertise of all of the people inside of that particular segment. If you want to work with lawyers, I guarantee there are lawyer-oriented masterminds that you can find, you can go to, that you can pay to be a part of. And as long as you come relatively well prepared, and I'll give you a little bit of kind of like an insight in how to be prepared. You come relatively well prepared and you say, I'm an expert in this category and let me show you how. And you give a meaningful example that most of them are probably not exposed to. You'll create a feeding frenzy, just like that person did in the mastermind that I was a part of. So here's how you can determine if it's a good mastermind or a bad mastermind, because there are a lot of bad ones out there, and there are a couple of really, really good ones, okay? Number one, they should have been in the industry for at least 3 years, okay? If they popped up yesterday, their mastermind is going to suck. If they've been around for at least 3 years, I guarantee that there's going to be a pretty healthy chance that there is significant volume of people and interest in what they do, okay? So that's number one. Number two, you should be able to validate the expertise of the person leading the mastermind without ever needing to spend a penny with them. Their information and their expertise should be broadly accessible, and you should be able to see it, and you should be able to be like, okay, that person knows what they're talking about when it comes to helping lawyers, or when it comes to helping architects, or when it comes to scaling a manufacturing company. It's obvious. Okay, cool. Third thing, do they share the spotlight? Because the worst masterminds are when you go to them and it is a one person talking the whole time. If you don't have the chance or the opportunity to share and participate, and you got to kind of like hide in the shadows in the corners and do like the networking thing, it's not nearly as valuable as you get to be in front of everyone and you get to talk to everyone and capture their attention in a singular, in just a 10-15 minute time frame, right? That's an extremely, extremely useful thing, and it shows they know how to run a really good mastermind, okay? Fourth, be prepared, okay? And the way you get prepared is you don't show up to your first mastermind not knowing what high-level buyers are interested in, what they care about, and what their concerns are. You already know before you go there. And the reason you already know is you've either studied what other people offer to high-value buyers, you have networked with people who already do advisory level services and they can tell you, you've talked to prospective buyers and you've literally just asked them for what they're looking for. And then you build a very short and concise way of expressing those things to your audience. Fifth one, okay, you've got to make sure that the audience size is of a certain number. If you go to a mastermind and there's only 5 people there, your chances are really low of success. Okay, even if you create a feeding frenzy like this person did, if there are only 5 people there, okay, maybe you get like 3 or 4 clients max, and that may be great, but in reality, they'll express interest and they may not follow through. So if you have more people, you have way higher chances. And here's the final thing that I will say on this. Most people don't do the math, right? Common expression in our community is math is the path to your dream firm. If you can't do the math, you'll never get there. And there's a very simple layer of math here. An advisory client should be worth a minimum of, this is like bare minimum, 15 grand a year, okay? Really, it should be in the 24,000 and up. We're talking just 2K a month when we're saying advisory level services. Okay, so if we get into a room, niche specific, you come prepared, 40-ish people, you get a chance to present, each short time frame. I'm not saying like you got to have like an hour, short, actionable. Okay, cost you $15,000 to be there. Let's just say only 10 of those people are interested and you convert 3 of them. That's not crazy. Okay, 15 grand to be there. We'll say they're worth 20 grand on average each a year. we're talking $60,000 in return. And now what this allows you to do is now you have the network of people who recognize you as an advisor. You have, again, it's not just the immediate 60K in recurring that you'll have from that experience. Those other 7 that didn't buy, they'll think of you, right? They'll think they actually had conversations with you. The other 30 who heard you speak, when people talk to them, they're like, you should go and talk to Michelle. You should go and talk to David. You should go and talk to Lisa. They're actually the people you should be talking to about this problem, because I heard them speak and they're amazing. I've sent a bunch of people to work with Kristen, the woman who spoke at that event, because I'm like, Kristen does a great job in this category. Like, go talk to her. So again, there are all sorts of ways to do this in terms of get advisory clients, but the best way is be immersed in the environment that has a high threshold for them to be there, right? Like, the reason it's valuable is because the ticket price is high and every person who's there is willing to spend that ticket price. And they're all specific to the thing, the reason the mastermind exists, the niche, the category. And then you have an expert like you who's also dedicated to the category, but in a very specific sector of service, which enhances the overall value of the mastermind by definition, right? Like, it's just like, it becomes more valuable because you are able to participate and bring in a totally outside set of expertise that benefits the community. And now everybody knows who you are. Like, they know you, they associate your expertise with it, and they're all high quality buyers because of the ticket price. And that builds on itself, right? Like, because here's what's crazy. You go to one mastermind, right? And look, again, they're expensive. That's why it works, okay? They're expensive. You go to one, you get the reputation, you make your money back plus more, you double down, you go to another one. And then all of those people, maybe a little bit of overlap, because crazy, a lot of people who invest in self-education invest in more than one thing. And then you go, oh, Tony, I saw you at the other event. Great to see. And they go, you got to listen to this person. They absolutely kill it. Or I work with this guy. He's amazing, right? So now all of a sudden it gets easier. It gets way, way easier because it's a system and a strategy that you can keep reworking again and again. And if you go back to the mastermind again, the same one, even if you just do one and you go back to it the following year, new faces, but also familiar faces as well. And ideally, clients. So this is something that builds on itself over time. And it's the fastest and by far the best way to get advisory level clients, simply because the threshold of entry is predicated upon being a wealthier sort of individual, and a wealthier individual is a prerequisite to being able to invest in advisory services. So that's what I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's Dream Firm Spotlight. My name is Tyler S. Clark. Remember, only you can create your dream firm, but we are here to help you every single step of the way. Identify those masterminds, get inside of those communities, and make sure that you are ready to shine with your expertise when given the opportunity to do so. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all very, very soon.